Your house is worth whatever it's worth, right? Whoever sells it. Wrong. I'm Charlie. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie, and thank you for coming.
Charlie Landing grew up in Sussex, is the founder of Best Agent and presenter of Moving Home with Charlie.
If you want to find one of these guys, look out for those compassionate professionals. All estate agents are not the same.
So Charlie, what would be your advice for people interested in buying new builds right now?
Don't overpay. Do buy, but don't overpay. That's why I say disregard the guff. Read into the numbers and look, and it's buried. The bad news is buried in the small print, okay?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Property Press Awards.
They may or may not be telling the truth, but you should form your own view. Get out and view, get out and view, get out and view. You cannot be in a position to make offers and have the offers accepted if you're not viewing. Just be out there viewing. Pay attention to the back of the class. If you've not been watching my videos, I did one just a couple of days ago. Disregard the guff, guys. Drinking tea this evening because I haven't got nothing else to drink. I think if I'd had a Guinness this evening, I would have had a Guinness this evening. Welcome everybody, especially welcome to my new subscribers. I'm Charlie Lambden. This is Moving Home with Charlie, and I'm going to recap something important for everybody because the audience has grown a lot, and I've noticed a couple of things have changed. And I think it's a good time to reinforce a few things and just refresh everyone's memory. The purpose of this channel is to help people who need to move home, period. That's it. I am here to help people who need to move home. That doesn't change with house prices moving. It doesn't change with what the economy is doing. It doesn't change with anything. People always need to move home for lots of different reasons. And it's always, even when it goes well, it is a very stressful thing. And I am here to help movers. Anyone and everyone is welcome to watch this channel. And I know that there are a lot of estate agents who watch this channel, and you're all welcome, guys. And I also know there are a lot of investors who watch this channel. You're all welcome. And crypto guys and girls watching this channel. And you're all welcome too. But guys, I am not here for you. I'm very happy if you find the channel interesting, but I'm not here for you. I am here to help movers move. And so anything and everything I say on this channel is intended, doesn't mean it will be, but it's intended to help people who need a home or need to move home for reasons of having a home find it easier to do so. I'm here to share my insights. Now, why should you listen to anything I say? Well, first of all, you shouldn't. You shouldn't listen to what I say or anything that anyone else says on the internet. But you should just consider what I say in a mixture of what I hope is a lot of wide-ranging research you will do into the decision-making for your move. I have no idea whether or not I'm right, whether or not the things that I'm expecting to happen are going to happen. But let me just quickly, for anyone who's worried about, is Charlie about to change his mind? I haven't changed my mind on anything. If anything, I am more certain now than I've ever been of what I expect the property market to do, which, to recap for anyone who's new here, my prediction is a 35% drop in nominal house prices from peak to trough over however long that takes. And my guess on how long that takes is 2 to 3 years. I think we are a year or so into that. I think the peak, depending on whether you're talking about at the coalface or whether it's actually when it's reported, was sometime last year. I think the peak actually happened at the coalface spring of last year. I think that it started to be reported in the autumn of last year. And I thought it was also worth a quick recap of my relevant experience. Because I have found myself, as many of you know, making a lot of commentary on what's happening in the economy and the financial markets, much to some people's irritation, it would seem. What do I know about that? Well, I am very, very far from being any sort of expert on that. It just happens that before my 25 odd years in the property industry, in the moving industry happened, I spent 3 years in the City of London as a financial futures and options derivatives broker. And to do that, I had to pass all kinds of exams because I was also, as well as being a broker and on the actual exchange floor, which is a wild experience, I was also giving advice to institutional investors over the phone, which I had to be qualified to do. So I had to pass SFA, it was at the time, Securities and Futures Authority exams, which meant that I learnt about, not a lot, but I learned a little bit about the whole way the whole system works. So I understand what futures are, what options are, what derivatives are, what hedging is, the difference between government bonds, gilts, and equities, and commodities, and foreign exchange, and interest rates, and how it all interacts with each other. It was a bit like, I suppose, going to do a master's degree, except that it was 3 years, but it was an intense 3 years of being at the coalface and learning it. And that was amazing because I learned so much. It was fascinating seeing how that world works at the coalface. That was a long time ago. I got fired from that, by the way, if anyone doesn't know. There's a funny story on my personal, I give the full story about how I got fired on my personal channel, Charlie Lambden. Yeah, if anyone's interested. Just maybe search Google Charlie Lambden being fired, and you might find it. So what's my experience in the property sector? Well, the only area I can claim to be any sort of expert in is estate agency CRM systems for sales, for lettings, and for property management. Why? Because to my knowledge, I am the only person who has conceived, designed, built, and released from scratch, three fully functioning estate agency CRM systems. And I know it was the first fully web-based one. The very first one I did was anyway, that's too much detail. But what that's done is, what it's meant is that for the last 20-something years, I have spent probably in the thousands of days in estate agents' offices, estate agents of all different kinds. The very first client of this software was actually a countrywide brand. And so there were big brands, small brands, everything in between. I've seen agents all over the country, of one-man band up to larger chains. And I've spent lots and lots of time behind the scenes at board level, at director level, at regional, at branch manager level. I've done company meetings, sales meetings, and I've consulted to a lot of them. So I've had a bizarrely unique front row seat to the inner workings of the residential property industry without ever having been an estate agent. And I have got to see more different kinds of estate agents than anyone else I know in the industry. And so I have a sort of very unusual, and I think possibly even unique, insight. So when you combine those two things, my understanding of the inner work, so in other words, I've seen it because of the CRM software that I was providing my clients with, I could see at the coalface in real time what was happening with new buyer registrations, new properties, average prices, the ratios of registrations to viewings, viewings to offers, offers to deals, deals to exchanges. And so I developed this instinctive understanding of the natural dynamics of the industry, both in sales and in lettings and even in property management. So that doesn't qualify me. I'm not claiming to have any qualifications. I just do have a fairly unusual and arguably unique experience. Plus the fact that I've got the best agent data, shonky though it is at the moment, it is still the whole country, or the whole of England and Wales, and gives me a very clear insight as to what's happening in the asking price side of things, as well as to an extent the performance of agents between instructed and sold or let. So I'm not trying to persuade anybody. I'm explaining all of this because I want people to understand, if you didn't already know this, where I'm coming from. I am not on the side of buyers. I'm not on the side of sellers. I'm not on the side of agents. I'm on the side of improving the whole process for everyone concerned, agents included. Because in that 20-something years, not only have I witnessed shocking behavior by estate agents, I have witnessed equally shocking behavior by movers, buyers, sellers, landlords, and tenants. And I'm telling you that nobody is innocent in this particular field. Okay. And I think that most people would like it if everybody had a home. And there are enough homes to go around in this country. There's just a sort of weird, odd distribution of them, which means there aren't enough in the right places. And in the last few videos, I have said a couple of times, look, don't over fixate on the finances. And every time I say that, I get pushback from people go, no, you don't understand. We have to be fixing on finances. Okay. I'm not saying that your finances aren't critically important to you, but what I'm saying is don't let that stop you giving an equal amount of consideration to the other factors about your move as well. And the most important message from this particular video is this. The question I get asked the most is, should I move now? Or when should I move? Now, in order for me to be able to answer that question for anybody in any meaningful way, I'd have to ask you all of the following questions, and I'd need answers to all of these questions before I could begin to answer that question. And here they are. And this is why my point is that only you can decide. Nobody can advise you on when to move because it depends on your reasons for moving. But just off the top of my head, here are 10 things that I would have to ask you. How will it affect your home life if you move? How will it affect your relationships if you move? How will it affect your work if you move? How will it affect your health if you move? How will it affect your life goals if you move? What is your financial situation? In other words, how much is your deposit? How much is your mortgage? What is your job security like? What is your personal appetite for risk? What is the certainty of your future plans? To what degree are you certain of your future plans? And do you know when you're going to want to move again in the future? And if so, when and where and how important will that be? And one bonus question on top of those 10 questions is, what unknown things that you're not expecting in your life might change? And only after I had answers to all of those questions would I be in a position to offer you any guidance at all about whether you should move or not and when you should move or not, because all of those things are factors when it comes to moving home. And another question that's popped into my mind right now is, what's more important to you, flexibility and keeping your options open, or stability and security of keeping your home? Because if the former is more important, then rent. And I'd say, what is your financial capacity to absorb large financial shocks if the property needs something expensive doing to it? If you don't have that, then don't buy, because you'll be exposed to that if you buy a property. And if you rent, you're not exposed to those problems. But if you rent, you are at the whim of a landlord that might decide that they've got to sell the house for whatever reason. You've always got that possibility at the moment, unless they change the law. But if you buy, you've got other risks, which is, will you be able to sell when you need to sell if the market's going to fall? And how will that impact your life if you can't? I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So every time I see a question going, hey, Charlie, should I move now? From a total stranger with no other context, those are the first 12 or 13 questions I would need to ask you and hear your answer. I mean, we would need to talk for 1 to 2 hours before I'd be in a position to even begin answering a question about whether you should move. And what you'll notice is that none of those questions have anything to do with what's happening with house prices. I fell into this house price punditry thing by mistake, because I put out a video saying, hang on a second, do people not realize house prices are definitely going to fall? It's, to this day, it astonishes me still that it wasn't obvious to everyone in the industry and anyone who did any research of their own. You know, if you didn't bother to do any research, then of course all of the guff that people weren't disregarding was like, hey, it's all okay and it's all going up and year on year house prices are rising. Oh, right, okay, house prices must be going up then. You know, if that's the extent of your research, don't be surprised when your life plans just go completely pear-shaped because you didn't research it well enough. And all of this is also to say, so that all of that is sort of point number one about why only you can decide, and only you, these are the questions to ask yourself. Point number two is, of course, let's just touch on the house prices and the financial point. Of course, it matters what house prices are doing where you want to move. It matters enormously. It affects whether you can move or not. I get that. I had a phone call today from the deputy property editor of the Times, who wants to do a story this weekend on bricks and mortar about securing a discount on asking prices when you're buying a property. And we had a long conversation. And one of the things I explained to him, because he was asking me questions that were where he was looking for an answer that was a bit of a general answer, and I get why. And I found myself saying this to him. There are effectively 9 different property markets, because there are 3 combinations of these 3 things, at least, in any given location, in any postcode area or town or anything else, right? Even in a specific town, you've then got locations within that town where the market is different, right? Even 2 different streets can have different markets. So the three dimensions of the property prices are location, property type, in other words, flat or semi-detached or detached house, and then price band, just to keep it simple: lower, middle, higher. And so what part of the town are you in? And there's at least 3 different areas of that. You know, there is the geographic location. What kind of property are you looking for? And what budget level are you in? Because each of those 3 different bands, and of course the lower, middle and higher band will be different actual prices depending on where you are in the country as well. You know, it actually, what you need to know is, what is the market for semi-detached houses with gardens in this part of this town where I want to live, in this price band? Because even 3-bed semis will come in different price bands, won't they? There'll be the cheapest ones, the middlest ones, and the most expensive 3-bed semis. So this is why it is totally impossible for me or anyone else to give general advice about the market, because there are micro markets everywhere. You might hear the word hyperlocal. That is a thing. That's a valid description of the property market. It's hyperlocal. And then it's, well, what's the market doing? Well, it depends what type of property you want. What type of property do you want? Okay, you want a flat. Okay, what's the market for flats doing in that particular location? Well, what's your budget? Are you looking at the lower, the middle, or the higher? Because, you know, there are flats which are penthouse flats with an amazing view of the whole town, which are still just 1 bedroom, but then there are also tiny, pokey 1-bedroom flats. So which is your budget? And then you can have the conversation. Okay, we know where, we know what type of property, we know what your budget is. What's the market for that specific type of home that you're looking for? Okay, now you can have a conversation. But the final point is this: if you want to know what the market for the particular type of property you're looking for in your area to buy is, there is only one way to find out. There is only one way to find out. Okay, and it's not online, and it's not reading stuff, and it's not watching my videos. It is getting out and viewing as many of those properties as you can, even the ones you don't think you're going to be interested in, even the ones that might be slightly outside your budget, because only then will you know what the market for properties you want to buy is like in the area where you want to live. Okay, and right now you're going to find agents much more willing to do viewings. And you will also, the second thing is this: by going out and viewing, not only will you be personally informed and be able to form your own opinion on the market, because every time you do a viewing, you're going to talk to an agent, and the agent's going to tell you what the market is doing for those flats. And of course, listening to someone who's trying to sell you something, giving you an opinion on the market, it's a one-sided opinion. I get that, but you will still get to see which flats are selling quickly and which ones aren't, and roughly what prices they're going for. You'll have an idea. And with that background, having met lots of agents, having seen lots of properties, you'll be confident about putting in the right offer for the right property when that time comes along. So even if you are not thinking of moving until you think the house prices have come down to a price you can afford, you should still be out viewing now, because you don't know whether or not that dream home might come along in your... If you get to know an agent well, because they welcome you, go, we would love to show you flats. If you're a genuine buyer, even if you're not looking to buy right now, we're happy to show you flats. And you'll form a relationship with the agent, and they'll realize that you're serious, and they'll know what you want. And the day that something, before it even hits the open market, comes onto their books that they know, oh my God, I know exactly who's going to love this flat, they will call you and say, we've got it. It's definitely, this is the... I've heard agents so many times come back from evaluation and go, I know exactly who's going to buy this property. I know exactly who's going to buy this property. And only the really good agents that get to know their buyers will do this. And they're almost always right. I remember one of the first agents that sold a best agent property, in other words, a property that came to the market through best agent. He said to the seller in the valuation, he said, I know exactly which two buyers are going to fight over this property. And because I know the buyers, and they've both had stuff fall through, they've been trying to buy it in this street. I know they're both desperate. I know that they're going to be bidding each other, and I know that you're going to get a record price for your house. And it's exactly as he said. That's what happened. So if you're just watching stuff online and looking at Rightmove and looking at the newspapers and reading the news stories, you are not yet a serious buyer. Now, I don't mean you don't seriously intend to buy, but you are not yet taking the steps to inform yourself well enough what you need to know about buying the properties you want to buy, the kind of property you want to buy in the area you want to buy it. You will not do this online. You are going to have to put your coat on, get out and beat the streets, meet the agents, register with them and say, I want to see any 2-bedroom flat with 2 bathrooms, for example, that comes on. I'm ready and able to view, and I will come and view at a moment's notice. I will make the time to view. Please take me seriously and show me stuff. I'm not saying I'm going to buy tomorrow, but when I find the right place at the right price, I will buy. I'm a first-time buyer. I've got my mortgage and principal lined up. I'm serious. I'm ready to go, but I'm not going to buy one until I find just the right one at the right price. Some agents will be, well, sorry, if you're not buying today, we're not going to show you stuff. Just ignore those guys, right? They're being very short-sighted. Some agents will welcome you in and go, thank you for being straight with us. We know where we stand with you. And yeah, we're happy to show you stuff, because it's worth remembering that even if you're not going to make an offer anywhere near the required price on a property that you still want to view, it's still of some value to the agents to show you those properties, because they can then go back to the seller after you've viewed it and say, this is one of the only people we've had look at your property for a while, and they haven't made an offer, but they said that if they were, they wouldn't be going any, they would be 20% below your asking price. And that's the only interest that we've had. And you're giving the agent the ammunition that they need to persuade the unrealistic sellers to come down off their silly high price. So don't worry about the fact that you may not be going to buy the stuff, because it's still, for intelligent agents, the more people they show a property who don't offer or who offer way below, the more ammunition they're getting to get the sellers to come down on price. Wow, 20 minutes I've been going. So guys, to those of you who are accomplished, seasoned, experienced investors and who have a deep understanding of how the money markets work and that kind of stuff, I'm glad you're watching and you're very, very welcome. But some of you have given me a hard time for saying things that aren't perhaps technically perfectly accurate. Well, guys, you aren't my intended audience here. You're welcome, but my intended audience is people who don't have a clue about how all that works and who find it a bit overwhelming and intimidating and just want it explained in plain English to help them with their moving decision, not their investment decision. I made the foolish mistake of expressing an opinion about that I think people's savings are generally safe in the UK banks at the moment, as in you're not going to just see your money disappear. And I got several people sending me emails and saying, well, Charlie, that you shouldn't have. I just, you know what? I'm not going to go there. Right? I'm not going there again because it's not my remit. I just don't want to talk about it. And I don't want people barking at me and saying, well, you're wrong and this is happening and they are losing their money because of inflation and this and that. You might be right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's not what this channel is about. I'm not here as a financial commentator. I'm not here to give investment opinions or advice. I'm not here to advise people what to do with their money. That is not my remit. My God, there are countless other channels on YouTube you can go to if that's what you need or want. Okay, that's not what I'm here to do. I am here to help movers. And I'm not here for clicks. I'm not here for views. I'm here to spread the message to people who find my insights useful. I'm here to try to broker better moves between sellers, buyers, and agents, and also between landlords and tenants. I put out a video on TikTok today with an opinion about what sort of landlord a tenant should be looking for. I mean, if they had the choice if you're lucky enough, I know that many markets don't allow this at the moment. Many rental markets are too tight, and you're lucky to find even one property that might fit your criteria. But if you do have a choice as a tenant, the first thing you should look at when considering a property to rent is, what is the landlord's position? Do they own it outright? Are they a one-off accidental landlord, or are they an experienced professional landlord? Are they mortgaged up to the hill? These are questions I'd be asking because they affect how likely you're. So anyway, the point is, I put that video up on TikTok. I have people going, "Have you given up on house prices then, Charlie?" I did have someone who said her last is giving some sensible advice. Anyway, I do want to help movers, and I know it's all been about buying and selling. It's been too much. I want to do more on rentals, and actually, I've had a couple of agents tell me that they too, in certain areas, think that rents may have topped out. The slow, which it doesn't make. It's not surprising, is it? People's disposable income has been being decimated since, well, for over a year, or nearly a year now. So it's not surprising that demand for rents is going to start to soften and ease, and asking prices are going to drop on rents. That's going to happen. This is going to make it even worse for the landlords who are already suffering. I saw one story today about a buyer that went out and viewed 8 properties, 7 of which were being sold by landlords. I don't know where that was. It was the London Money guy on Twitter who put that out. So guys, this isn't going to be long, because straight after this at 9 o'clock, I'm doing a private member-only live stream for the members of the experimental first-time buyers group, the Buy Me a Coffee ones. And if any of you guys are watching now, there's only 50 of you. There might be 49 of you by the end of tonight, because there's one person there who I think might be removed from the group after the messages I've been sent. Not constructive. So there might be one slot. We're just keeping it at 50 for now. It's full. But if there's available slot, if you're a first-time buyer who wants to join the group, send me a private message somewhere, and if a slot comes available, I'll let you know. Was that everything I wanted to say? Let me finish with this. Nothing that's been happening in the financial markets or the banking market is of any surprise to me. It's all something that I expected to happen at some point. I didn't know exactly when it was going to happen, but at some point in the medium term, within the time frame of my house price falls. There are interest rate decisions coming out of the Fed and the Bank of England this week, and all of this stuff. And whatever they do isn't going to change my mind very much. If the overall long-term direction of changes starts to change, that might inform my opinion. And guys, when the market does change, if the market changes unexpectedly, so if my opinion on the eventual house price movement changes, you'll hear it first from me. If I see evidence of, if I see compelling, reliable evidence of demand starting to outstrip supply again, you'll hear it first from me before anywhere else. I have no vested interest in what house prices do. I really don't. And some of you may not believe that, but in time, when eventually the market does turn, you'll see that, because you'll hear it from me first. Because my view is that transparency breeds trust, and trust breeds business, and that's what I'm trying to tell agents as well. So yeah, I'm here to try to build trust in the moving industry among the agents that move, and also to tell movers as well, both buyers and sellers, that you need to behave with integrity as well, because if you do, your move will be easier and you'll get better treatment. And you need to not treat estate agents badly. That won't help you move at all. You need to disregard all the media hyperbole about how bad estate agents are. Yes, there are plenty of agents who don't do the job very well. There are plenty of agents who do it very badly, but there are also plenty of agents who do it well. At the end of the day, what's more important to you, securing the home that you want, or teaching the agents a lesson? It's hilarious how some people think that they are equipped to do that without any experience in the estate agency. Anyway, right, some questions if they're relevant to this evening. That's all I wanted to say tonight. What do we have? Do we have any questions about moving? Guys, I'm not answering financial questions. I'm not going there. Paddy, it's okay. Your follow up. Thank you for your comment, but your follow up explanation was cool and helped me understand it. And you're not the only one either, Paddy. Oh, Lewis. Here's a seller. Louis or Lewis Field. I just sold my house. The agents were still talking the market up, but I put the house on for 10k less than the one down the street. And funny enough, sold straight away. Congratulations, well done. Craig, I'm here to invest $1 million. Hilarious. Yeah, where is my Guinness? Good question, Phil W. I don't have one. Oh, I wish I did. I'm hopefully seeing Housing Stig tomorrow. We might even get a camera out, obviously just to film me because he won't be on the camera, but to film a conversation. Ordered Tank. What a great name, by the way. That's new. I haven't noticed your name before, but no other channel is better than Charlie's. Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions? EHM. Hello, that's new to me as well. Hi there. Charlie, yours is the best UK-focused property channel there is. Well done and keep up the good work. We appreciate you. I appreciate comments like that very, very much. Thank you very much. It really does. Those sort of comments genuinely boost my morale and enthusiasm and energy for this mission. Where else do we have? Chelsea Clement says, I love that someone pays to be a part of a group to abuse you. I know this is all new to me, right? I've done this. Someone hasn't done exactly that. And they've gone properly off their nut, bombarding me with shouty, all uppercase stuff, questioning my integrity. I doubt it. This is all a scam. I don't know how it's a scam. Yeah, Ryan Daly says, you should have a chat with Gary Stevenson, Gary's Economics on YouTube. Would be interesting to hear you to discuss future house prices. I have enormous amount of respect for him. It's really interesting. I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, but what I have watched is his kind of background and how he got into the city and everything. He and I actually had one similarity and one big difference. The big similarity is that we both went into the city, we both saw how it worked, and neither of us liked it because we saw how much it exploits vulnerable people. And I share Gary's desire to help those being exploited avoid it. What's very different is Gary came from, I come from a very, very fortunate, very comfortable middle class background, right? As you can probably tell. Where, by the way, I'm considered a black sheep. I do not fit in there. My views are considered to be a heretic. I get a lot of very raised eyebrows from those people about my views. Charlie, you're not a communist, are you? No, I'm a capitalist. I believe in capitalism, and I hope to make an awful lot of money, because then you can do good stuff with it and help people. So it is funny when people think that. In fact, someone on TikTok said that today. This guy sounds like he's a member of the establishment. Avoid. I am so far from a member of the establishment. Honestly, it was hilarious. But Gary, yeah, I have. There is an area of the psychology of wealthy people that I have insight to because I've grown up around them. That I don't know if Gary has. I know he's seen the wealthy guys in the city as I have too. But I would love to have a chat with Gary. I'll probably have a private chat with him and see if there's any conversation. If he's up for it, I don't know. But if he's up for it and he wants to have a conversation, have a private conversation with him and see if he thinks it's worth us talking. Okay, someone whose YouTube handle is ABNWTFWC07 on YouTube says, hello, Charlie. When you say prices in nominal terms, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is the sticker price. So that's not adjusted for inflation. So if we were to adjust it for inflation, easy example, if house prices went from £100,000 down to £95,000, that's a 5% reduction in nominal terms. But if in the same period there was 10% inflation, you would actually remove another 10%. So actually the real terms fall would be 15%, 5% of the sticker price plus 10% of inflation. So that'd be a 15% fall in real values. It's a bit like how they calculate real wages. So if you get a 5% increase in your salary after a year, but inflation in that year was also 5%, your real pay rise is 0, because the 5% you got in your pay rise is cancelled out by the 5% reduction in inflation. So real terms means adjusted for inflation. Nominal means not adjusted for inflation. I hope that's helpful. Yeah, even new builds are coming back on the market. Daniel Spate says, will property prices come down next year? I am expecting them to. Barring any shocking, surprising intervention, and I've said that all along, my 35% falls over 2 to 3 years are on the assumption that there is no major government intervention. And if there is, obviously, we change that view. Emma Anderson says, question. If this is a good question, Emma. If the bank doesn't raise rates this week, will this have an immediate effect? No. Almost nothing has an immediate effect on house prices. Almost nothing. House prices move like an oil tanker. The only thing that has an immediate effect on transactions and a sharp effect on prices is something unexpected. Like, for example, I remember in the July 7/7 bombings in London, the property market stopped overnight. The London property market did. Not the rest of the country. Other people did it. There was a bit of a shock, but there was a tangible, but it didn't affect prices very much. It affected transactions for a while. So those are the only really real sort of totally unexpected shocks and bolts out of the blue can affect transactions quite suddenly. The pandemic had a very sharp shock, but it was equally reversed by the government intervention of the stamp duty holiday and the massive pumping of money through furlough and bounce back stuff. So no, there's a very, very like we haven't yet seen. If you think about the fact that I saw somewhere today that the average time to purchase a property at the moment is 40 weeks. That's 9 months, right? That means that from when interest rates shot up, it will be 9 months until the people who were setting out to buy then actually buy. So we have not yet seen the full effect of the interest rate rises reach the property market yet. It hasn't happened. And it's just maths, guys. It's not even an opinion. It's just simple maths. And we, and we haven't yet seen the effect of all of the fixed rate terms that are coming to an end. 5-year fixed rates that were put in place 4 or 5 years ago, as well as the 2-year ones that are coming to an end. And there's a very large number of those coming to an end. That's going to have a material impact on the housing market. Yes, lots of people might well be able to afford the new higher price, but a lot of people also won't, and it will have an impact. My prediction for rates, I really don't have one. I don't know. I just don't know if they're going to leave them the same, raise them 0.25%, lower them 0.25%. I don't even know. Nothing would surprise me. But if I had to place a bet, I think they're going to go up 0.25%. Not a prediction. That is a pure bet. Frederick UK asks, how long is it typical to be out viewing before you decide to buy? There are some people who go out and view something and buy the first thing they see because they just get lucky, like throw the dart, hit a bullseye. There are some people who've been viewing for a year and still haven't found anything. There really isn't a typical thing. But what I can tell you, and here is some insight from my property software CRM systems, is that it used to produce reports for the ratio of viewings to deals. Now, the cross-section clients I had tended to be better than average estate agent, but there was still quite a big difference between price bands as well. This ratio changed, but the number that sticks in my mind was 14 viewings for an accepted offer. So they might, from 14 viewings, they might get 3 offers, one of which would be accepted. But that was a better. I mean, a lot of poorer estate agents, I know the number is actually higher than 20 viewings. to get a property sold, and it varies with the market, it varies with the area. But it also depends on how good your finances are, because if you're stretching yourself a bit and you're looking at stuff where you're relying on them accepting an offer quite a long way below asking price, you're gonna have to look longer until you get lucky. But if you're well funded, and to you the importance of securing something quickly, you may well buy something much sooner. So there isn't a typical time, but I hope that's a helpful answer. Guys, I've got to wrap this up because I need time to actually send out the link to the private first time buyer only live stream that I'm about to do at 9 o'clock. So one more question and then that's it. I'm going to do a random scroll and stop. Thomas, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing questions on financial systems and creating inflation. That's just not my remit. I do have views on it, but not very strong ones. I'm just not going into that topic. I've learned the lesson. I'm just not going to go there. I'm sticking very closely to moving. Probably in South Devon, gradually dropping in price. Yeah, I knew it'd get there in the end. Someone says they've been viewing for 3 years. Don't ask. Okay. William James says, you clashed with Pensioncraft tonight. It was a tough decision. Well, I'm honoured and flattered because that guy is an actual qualified professional, unlike me. Guys, yeah, if they don't increase the rates, you're right, Emma. The guff from estate agents will be off the charts. I agree with that. Thank you all very much for your time, and I hope that was a useful, helpful. I've got something I want to show you very quickly. Just very quickly, look at this. This is a tweet from the Secret Conveyancer. It's on your screens now. The Land Registry are now estimating that they won't complete some registrations until 2025. Buy a house in 23, don't get your proof till you own it until 2025. What a shambles. So that the purpose of showing you that is to point out the fact that there's a massive delay in actually seeing the truth of what's happening with house prices. Just remember that. On that happy note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Wish you all lots of love and luck. I'm going to keep on going with this. And if there's demand for if more people want to join a private live stream where you can actually come into the room like Housing Stig does, audio only or with video, and have conversations, let me know if there's more of you'd like to do that. Thank you all very much, guys. I will speak to you soon. What drum kit have I got? Oh, you're all very sweet. You're all very sweet. I've got to go. I'm out of time. Have a great night. Talk to you soon. Don't forget, if you need a mortgage in principle, mhwc.co.uk/mortgage. I'll put a link to it below. And I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye, guys. And if you're one of the 50 people in the first-time buyer group, I'll see you in less than 20 minutes. Bye.